Greetings and salutations, Dota fans, for the second time this evening, or I guess if you're keeping count, going back to the Western Division play earlier, the fourth time this evening. Welcome into the HyperX D2L Season 4. Our second best of three on the way right now. We're going to have Rattlesnake taking on LGD International. LGD took a tough loss against Invictus Gaming in our first series of the night. This will be their final series of the entire tournament. I'm pretty sure they may have one left, actually. We have one left, actually, so my bad on that one. Nonetheless, they're deep into their schedule. This will be their next to last series then. And unfortunately for them, they're yet to notch a win. They actually pushed the previous series against Invictus Gaming to 3 games, but still came up short in that third game. Rattlesnake, pretty much in the same boat. They do have a notch in the win column, but not nearly enough of them. They still have a chance, maybe at the very outside, if they win out from this point on, to maybe make some noise, maybe try to play their way into the playoffs, but it's going to be a tough road ahead. In fact, let's go ahead and take a look at the standings and how all of these teams shape up against each other. Rattlesnake, again, finally getting a win under their belt. They're sitting at 1-4, though. This is actually going to be their next to last series as well. And LGD obviously losing their previous series. That stat plate is not updated. They're sitting at 0-5 right now with only 2 points under their belt. 2 points for Rattlesnake as well. And, of course, those two coming from that win. Now, Tongfu has slipped back to 5th place. Tongfu will be in action in our third series of the night. That will be their final series. And pretty much a must-win for them if they want to have a chance to make the playoffs. As we can see, already a lot of teams ahead of them. And at this point, I mean, it is just separated out very clearly into the haves and the have-nots. LGD sitting at a perfect 6-0 with Invictus right behind them now. I'm pretty sure that's at 5-1 now following their previous win earlier on. DK sitting at 4-2. They have 1 series left to play as well. Vici with 2 series left sitting at 4-1. Tongfu again will finish out their schedule tonight. Rattlesnake getting down to the wire. Rising Stars and LGD, again, the big goose eggs, sitting in 7th and 8th place. So taking a look at the way the teams match up in terms of their lineups. LGD International, I mean, they're a team who has shown us so much brilliance in such small quantities. They just have a problem getting that stability, getting that consistency that they want with that lineup. But again, the talent on this team simply cannot be denied. They're led by Brax in the support jungle position. Misery, of course, the off-lane player. Pycat does well in mid, so I'm playing Invoker a handful of times in our last series. We'll see if they're going to want to get him back on that hero. Black, Mr. GPM himself, running the carry position with freedom on the hard support. On the other side of the river, you got Rattlesnake. Now, this isn't your mama's Rattlesnake. It's not your international 2013 Rattlesnake, but it's a talented Rattlesnake team nonetheless. They're led by Luo in the carry position with Icy in the offlane. Johnny, a mid who, much like CTY, has his ups and his downs, has some consistency issues, but when he's on, can really impress you. Lynn, of course, in the support jungle position with Sag on the hard support. And Sag really has had a stretch of games, despite their unimpressive 1-4 record right now. He has looked good at times. Luo, though, is really the star of this team and a great person to have in that leadership position. Would not count this team out if they're able to stay together and able to continue to develop as a squad. As for me, well, I'm Aaron A.C. Chambers. I'll be joined by Ben Merlini-Wu, of course, for the insight and analysis. Again, our second Eastern Division series on the way right now, our fourth of the day, if you want to count the West. And just a quick reminder that the West rolls on every single day from now until the Thanksgiving break. 2 straight weeks of Western action will be taking place, kicking off at 9 in the morning every day here, at least 9 in the morning Pacific Standard Time, noon if you happen to be on the East Coast, 6 p.m. if you happen to be in Central Europe, and our Chinese viewers, I don't even know, 12 a.m., whatever. It's fine. It's fine. And gotta love Conrad, by the way, hollering out things I don't know because I've been awake way too long, and the Monster Energy just basically hooked straight to my veins at this point. Anyway, guys, more Dota on the way again. Rattlesnake taking on LGD International, basically playing for pride at this point, but sometimes just as good a motivator as any prize pool. We'll be right back here on the HyperX D2L. Stick with us. Jump in when you're ready. Jumping right into the draft, Rattlesnake versus LGD. Crystal Maiden, Nyx Assassin, and Pugna picked up from Rattlesnake. Gonna see LGD go ahead and grab up Black, that Lone Druid again. And as mentioned while we were running through the lineup, saw Pycat's Invoker in action a few times earlier. He had a lot of success in Visage. going to go ahead and be picked up as well. To break down this draft and I'll give you all of the insight and analysis you need to get inside the head of these pro players, welcome in once again, Ben Merlini-Wu. And I'll tell you what, Ben, LGD Gaming International is one of those teams that I think has good reason, and we as viewers and casters have good reasons to be excited about what they're going to develop into over coming months as we get towards the end of 2013 and look ahead to the tail end of the winter and on into next spring. You can tell they just have so much talent. They have these flashes of brilliance, but consistency still plagues them. This time, though, they're going to be up against a team in Rattlesnake who they've consistently beaten, believe it or not. They've met twice in the Ace Dota 2 League so far over the last couple of months. They've blanked Rattlesnake 2-0, 2-0 in both of those meetings. And Rattlesnake, much like them, they have a little bit of trouble closing games out. So if there's any series that could give a win to LGD, this might be it.
LGD, though, going with Lone Druid on black, so I must say that severely diminishes Rattlesnake chances of winning this one. Looks like the odds on this one are pretty similar to last match. 74% in favor of LGD International, 26% in favor of Rattlesnake, so very close to that 3-1 mark that we saw last game. This one is actually, last game was 70-30, this one's 3-1, so this one's a slightly more lopsided, but I still think it's going to be a fairly close matchup, especially with this early Pugna pick from Rattlesnake. Pugna is a hero that a lot of teams have banned out, and it usually does really well, I think.
Yeah, we've seen Pugna in action. I mean, hell, we saw Na'Vi just flat out run over Mouse Sports with a Pugna lineup. And honestly, this isn't all that different of a lineup. I mean, Rattlesnake could go ahead and tack on a hard farming carry to give them some late game stability coming up next if they want to. Love the Razor pickup a ton, though. I mean, when you see a Pugna, Crystal Maiden, this kind of a lineup, usually you want to have some kind of hero who's going to produce a quick mechanism. Razor certainly a great candidate for that. But his ability to match up against the Lone Druid one-on-one, Razor just kind of beats a Lone Druid one-on-one. Like, there's just no way around it. No matter how good a Lone Druid player you are, if you're up against even a semi-competent Razor player, he's going to be able to static link the bear, and you're just going to be in trouble. He's going to be able to last hit and deny so easily with that stolen damage anytime the bear decides to come forward at all. And, of course, without the threat of harass the bear gives you, the Lone Druid just kind of starts to feel really weak in the laning phase. So Rattlesnake already with a lot of magic damage output coming out between Crystal Maiden and Pugna and the stability that Razor's going to give them, I think they're going to match up well against this LGD draft.
Yeah, Visage is a hero that actually does pretty well versus Pugna. Those birds, being magic immune and all, are quite the snipers when it comes to killing that Nether Ward, especially with a hero like Invoker and Rubik on your team who are heavy mana users. It is imperative that you take out that Nether Ward as soon as possible. The gank potential is, I think, is about even for both teams. Nyx Assassin and Crystal Maiden providing a huge threat, similar to Visage and Rubik, but Invoker and Lone Druid kind of passive and farmy, especially the way LGD.int likes to play in the early game. So I don't think we're going to see as much early aggression as we've seen in some of the previous games. Probably more Midas Gaming.
Midas Gaming, indeed. Well, I mean, that kind of comes down to what Rattlesnake wants to grab up right now. They could just go, yeah, they're going to grab a Slaughter. I was going to say they could just go with some kind of a very win in the mid-game kind of an approach. And we've already seen this in action once before. It wasn't with a lineup quite like this, but I think it was the first week of play. 6.79 had just debuted, if I'm not mistaken, and we saw a Slaughter lineup just go absolutely bonkers in terms of just running down the throat of a team that's, I would say, it has a more traditional composition with your mid, your two supports, your farming hero, and then more than likely an offlaner or someone looking to serve that function. So Rattlesnake, they're going to be under the gun to execute, but really with the AoE potential they have coming out of pretty much everyone, this is not going to be a terribly hard lineup to execute just so long as their movement and decision-making are in line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, LGD, I think that if one team gets from behind really early, they could just keep snowballing, keep on taking towers, and then just control the map with the use of ganks. But yeah, I don't think Rattlesnake can really go toe-to-toe super late game. Sardar's like decent, but he's very hard to farm with. So if you don't get a really good start, he just flat out loses in the farm. Where Midas or not, Lone Druid is just going to completely be able to just eclipse him in terms of farm. Really depends on what LGDN picks here last, though. It looks like they need an offlaner. Timbersaw has been banned out very early by Rattlesnake. Clockwork also banned out. We could see a Tinker if they're scared of the push. I don't think it's that bad of a pick here. It's not that great for Nyx Assassin, but it's still something that we see in LGDN likes to run. And instead it'll be a Windrunner. Decent anti-push, so a good hero.
Yep, Tinker might have been a viable option. Unfortunately, the Tinker was banned by Rattlesnake.
Oh, it was banned. Oh,
yep.
Okay.
So either way, Windrunner will complete this LGD lineup. It'll be Brax handling our lovely redhead. But, I mean, this is basically, this looks a lot like a 6.78 draft coming out of LGD International, whereas I would say Rattlesnake has really, this is a lineup that looked, I mean, there's really no other way to put it other than to say this is a 6.79 draft. I mean, Slarter with the change to sprint certainly hit. That was a very nice buff for him. Pugna, his popularity has risen so immensely high following 6.79. I just want to say, before I get distracted, I really, like, I'm friends with the item creators. I love you guys. I don't know which one of you guys did this. I don't like the skin that much. I just don't. On the Nyx Assassin. I mean, it looks okay-ish. I don't like the colors. What do you think?
Do not like.
Yeah,
it's like green or red. He looks like a futuristic Nyx Assassin.
Yeah, kind of.
He looks like it looks like a tank, not a bug.
Yeah, the angles are too sharp. He's not sleek enough. He's not slick enough. Anyway, much love to whoever made that. I know most of you met you at the international, so don't take it.
That. Don't lie. Don't try and be nice, ASC.
But they're good friends of mine. We did a lot of drinking during the after party. So anyway. Jumping back into things, doesn't look like we're going to have a lot of action early on, so something I've kind of been neglecting over the last series, I'm going to go ahead and run through our lineups. Taking a look at Visage, we're going to have Freedom playing on the Visage as mentioned. The Rubik going to be handled by Misery this time around. Invoker going to be played by Pycat with Windrunner as mentioned, handled by Brax. And no surprise, Black's going to be on the Lone Druid, but a little bit of a surprise, he looks like he wants to go mid. Here on the side of Rattlesnake, Icy going to be handling our Razor. The Nyx Assassin going to be played by Sag. Crystal Maiden snatched up by Johnny this time around with Pugna being played by 121. He'll be going solo mid against that Lone Druid.
Sag, he is boned for a good 3 minutes.
Oh, wow. That is unfortunate. Misery able to telekinesis Sag up to the high ground, and for those wondering why this becomes a 3-minute issue, it's because the courier cannot be upgraded. And Misery.
Why are you dropping his items?
Misery. Just being a jerk, basically.
He's such a jerk.
This is a very sad Nyx Assassin. There's really no other way to say it. I mean, he literally just has to sit here until the 3-minute mark because you can't upgrade the courier to flying.
At least he'll have enough passive gold for it. He can call out missing from.
He's a ward. He's a living ward, is what he is. He actually already has a ward up there, so I guess that's a little defeated. Hasn't placed a skill point. I guess maybe if they decide to go for the room, maybe you can throw out an impale. I mean, I'd say that's roughly in range. But anyway, taking a look at the way the rest of the lanes are shaping up. Give me your thoughts here. I mean, we're going to see 1-2-1 going one-on-one with Black here right off the bat. Again, you draft a Razor against the Lone Druid. You usually want to try and get that Razor against that Lone Druid just because he is so dominant in that one-on-one matchup.
Yeah, and I think that the unpredictability by LGN is pretty good this game. And Invoker with Exort, he still should be able to CS pretty well. And he's a range hero, so he won't be able to have that much of his damage drain. On the top lane, Luo is suffering heavily. He's 2-0 in CS. He's against a double range lane. They're also able to creep pull here, and his CM is farming jungle, and he has his boots right now. He is level 2, so Johnny should start moving around, especially because Nyx Assassin hasn't been able to do anything. Sag's like, hey guys, Misery's camping at DD on bottom.
This is
That's pretty much the best thing he can do.
It's a very sad Nyx Assassin right there. Gonna hear a static link onto Pycat, and Misery grabs a DD. Sag yelling for his buddy to come help. Icy stole a lot of damage there, 98 damage, and Misery's gonna come up and try to help. Icy back near his own tower. Just look how hard he's hitting, and there's gonna be a decrep, but disjointed by the telekinesis. That might have saved him. Decrep, even with a level 2 Nether Blast, would have put him very close to death after one auto attack. So a little bit of action beginning to break out all over the map. They're not done. Actually, it looks like Johnny rotated over. There's going to be the static link. Misery's going to be our first blood. Nothing he could do. Hanging around a little bit too long, and Icy takes first blood quite happily.
Yeah, I mean, they have this ward over here, which is like nice and all.
Oh no.
Sunstrike hits Sag. They know he's still there. But I mean, where else could he have gone? There's nothing you can do for 3 minutes. Absolutely nothing. No unstuck command in Dota 2. Yeah, so this Observer ward is not very useful. I didn't see Crystal Maiden rotating over here. If they had a ward over here, he could just run down this way and then just avoid first blood by running to the tower.
And here comes that TP heading out to Sag. Poor guy. Sitting at level 1 without a single point of experience so far. Take a look at the early CS. We can see without a doubt this laning phase favoring LGD International with Brack soaking up 20 CS so far, 14 for Black in this matchup against 1-2-1. And here we go, buddy. Yeah, finally. Going to be able to get out and maybe try to make something happen.
Yeah, that is just so unfortunate for him. So he's pretty much just like off where he started at the beginning of the game. Level 1, very little experience. He had to spend most of his passive gold on a TP scroll. Poor guy.
Luo finally finding a little bit of farm under his own tower. Not a ton. He's sitting at 8 CS. Johnny trying to do what he can here and jungling things up. His rotation adding first blood to Rattlesnake's pocket, certainly helping them make up, at least in part, for losing Sag for that long. And then basically Sag was up there until just about first night. That's how long it took for him to be able to get down because of the change of the courier. That's actually pretty, I mean, it's one thing to say it's bad and joke about that. It is pretty damn devastating.
Freedom gets harassed a little bit on top, but he's doing very well in terms of level, almost level 4 at this point. CM, on the other hand, is almost level 3, trying to rotate top with boots, and Freedom needs to top his HP up before he ventures forth.
Luo continuing to jungle up, and quite happy to do so. Spending most of his mana for Slithering Crush just to jungle. Misery's hanging around here. He's got a set of brown boots. Sag is going to rotate his way over, as will Icy, to go ahead and challenge and take this easy cam. Experience will be soaked up by Misery at the very least. He's just short of level 3 right now. Take a look at PyCat. He's not in the best shape. He's only got 9 CS, so certainly not matching up very well against this Razor. To be honest, most heroes don't. I mean, it's one thing to say, well, he's going to, you know, you usually want to get him up against a Lone Druid, and you do. Lone Druid, usually a hero that excels when played in a one-on-one situation by a competent player. But he's, you know, more or less, no matter who you put Razor against, he should, in theory, do pretty well.
Yeah, Razor just wins most of the matchups flat out. If you're half decent at CSing, Johnny is sitting over here. He's still almost level 3. He hasn't gotten experience in quite some time. Looks like they want to get a kill on Brax. He does have a TP scroll. If they hit him with a stun, he can TP during a frostbite.
And yep, got a frostbite him in. He's got Wind Run. They spin the Slithering Crush, and there's the Wind Run. He's going to TP, and not going to have the damage. So looks like Luo may have pulled the trigger a little too soon there. I think he could have waited a little bit longer, and perhaps they could have made that happen. 1 or 2 more auto attacks is all they needed. Freedom and Misery going to go ahead and loop around. They're going to engage on Icy. There's a Grave Chill to slow him down. Sunstrike will be there. Telekinesis holds him in place. Sag popped his Carapace. That buys him some time, but one good soul assumption makes it a 2-0 exchange. Good rotation from LGD International. They lead 2-1.
Yeah, good Sunstrike too. Black, meanwhile, farming up. There is his minus 6 minutes in, and he also checks runes with him, so you can tell that Black has some experience in this mid-roll Lone Druid.
Yep, this is something I've seen Black do a handful of times when he does run the Lone Druid again. Haven't seen him do it very often at all. Just not a something I've seen personally. But obviously, like you said, has more than enough experience to be competent at it, and he's the big winner so far. I mean, we're only 6.5 minutes in, but we take a look at the net worth, we can see he's already beginning to open up. Pretty big gap. I mean, 300-400 gold just on the back of pure CSing at this point. Fairly considerable, especially when you figure that Icy benefited from having the first blood gold.
Yeah, so, I mean, starter, I'm trying to debate, like, whether the pick is good or not. I don't think it's that good. Look at his farm right now. He's, like, in a 1-on-2 situation, and other heroes have comeback mechanics, like Alchemist with Grievous Greed and being able to take out Ancient Stacks. Luna and Gyrocopter can also take out Ancient Stacks, but Solar, he really gets ahead by getting kills, and there's no, like, real Invis heroes, like Maybe Invoker, and they don't really have that much right-click damage, aside from, like, Nyx and potentially Razor, but they don't have enough farm to just like man up with Sar. He like really needs a BKB versus sort of lineup, and even then he can still get bear rooted. He can still get Windrunner can still activate Windrun and dodge all his attacks. So it's like he needs to fight pretty soon. Looks like he is going to do exactly that with his early bottle.
Misery and Freedom making their way up the top. They want to try to pick Luo off. He's been held down very effectively. If they can get a kill here, they're going to be in some dire straits. And, yep, took the bait hard. There's the Telekinesis. Slowed down. The Sunstrike will be off the mark, but it doesn't matter. Didn't even need it. And LGD just making everything happen they need to make happen on the map. Black has been left, well, up until now, relatively unmolested. Now they're going to be morphing into true form. Going to try to back off to the mid tower. He's got help on the way. Plasma Field catches him. Will they be able to right-click him down? There's a Decrepify to buy him time. And the Nether Blast still not enough to ward them off. Freedom's there. He'll eat the Impale, and now he's going to be caught with the Static Link. Throws out the Soul Assumption before dying, but an ill-advised set of rotations there to mid. More or less, he was dead to rights the moment they spotted him out. Very nice reprisal kill there for Rattlesnake, keeping it close.
that creep there blocked him in a little bit so that Razor could sap some of his damage too.
And
hero creep.
Hero creep. Here comes 1-2-1. He's going to make his way up, and there's the Decrepify. Ward goes down. Brax eating a lot of damage. He's got a DD. One more will do it. Yep, there it is. So 1-2-1 now on a killing spree. Following that, they almost got Brax as well. If he had prioritized his right clicks a little bit more, he might have been able to do so. And
they overlapped the telekinesis and shackle just by like a little bit.
Yep. And Brax's going to be very, very careful eating the amplified damage. Johnny is rotating over at the same time, so yep, he's going to pursue him out, drive him right back behind the tower, prompt the win run. There's the frostbite. Could not have been executed better. Very well done by Rattlesnake.
Yep, but Midas Gaming, is it going to win out? Let's check Pycat status on it. He's actually still pretty poor too, and no components on Chicken. He's going to early Ring of Basilius build again.
Rotating now up to top. We're beginning to see the supports get active. Johnny making his way towards mid, 1-2-1. Fairly low health, but looks like they're going to threaten to push here. Now, that's something we actually didn't talk a whole lot about. Taking a look at how Pycat's built, it is a pure Quas Exhort build, so he's going to have Forge Spirits to push. They're going to have Black and the push power of the Bear, and they're going to have Visage and his familiars. This has a deceptive amount of pushing power, especially if they're able to get a good pick.
Yep, just waiting for some levels on the supports right now. Rubik's still not level 6. Crystal Maiden and Nyx Assassin also not level 6 either. Once SAG gets his Vendetta, people should start blowing up on the side of LGD. We may see this have we may see Rattlesnake have the same problem that IG did, where they can't really kill Black, they don't really kill Pycat, and even though they get like ahead in the first 20 minutes, they're going to lose out past that because of the Midases and because they didn't actually kill the important heroes.
Well, to be honest, this is a lineup that can't afford to be in this situation. Like, they're ahead in kills technically, 6-4. Take a look at the gold, though. Oops, wrong button. Take a look at the gold. You can see, wow, they're actually a little further ahead in gold than I thought. I figured they had a bit of an advantage, but at 10 minutes in, they need to start 5-manning. This is not a lineup that's drafted where they could just, basically run 4 and try to farm Luo. Like, you don't pick a Slarder to do that. That's not what the hero should be doing. And, you pick him to fight much, much earlier and to try to hold down not just one hero in a Black on the lone druid, but hold down an entire team. And Pugna's kind of the same way. I mean,
top lane.
Up at top lane, we're going to have gank attempt on the Luo. And Soul Assumption will be enough to secure the kill. And let's see if they want to respond to that in any way in mid. Nope, doesn't look like Rattlesnake feels like they have the punching power quite yet.
Yep, and Pycat is slowly but surely working to his -2. What is Luo going to get? He has 1,300 gold. He doesn't even have treads yet, and this is going to be a really big concern for Rattlesnake. They need him to get up and farm. They need him to get treads, possibly drums, possibly BKB too afterwards. And like without that, he's just a huge liability.
I feel like Blink Dagger might be what he's trying to bank.
Would be fantastic too.
Yep. I feel like that's what he really needs against this team. They have so many disables, so many ways to slow him, so many ways to cope with him between. Basically every hero has some mechanism one way or the other that can keep him from just sprinting in. So a Blink Dagger just to get the initiation advantage, to get an amplified damage off on the correct hero, very important. We are going to see Rattlesnake recognizing that LGD is keeping this a little too close for comfort. They're going to move into the jungle as 4, look to dive on Brax, and maybe look to take a tower off of it.
Yeah, Brax is in a very difficult position right now. He does have a TB scroll. It goes for the deny. He has to get out right now, though. He might actually die even with... Oh, Johnny should have Crystal Nova there. If he Crystal Novas, they get vision, and then he can Frostbite to cancel the TP.
Speaking of TP, 1-2-1 going to move back in. This tower in mid at about half health. Luo there to help him out as well. We see Rubik actually stole amplified damage. That is a phenomenal spell for him to have stolen. Not yet level 6 on Nyx Assassin. He's going to be spotted out. Johnny's there to Frostbite the Bear, and Icy there as well. And there's an Impale to follow it up. Plasma Field there. Visage Familiars are going to stun it, and the Bear will be denied by Misery. So nice little deny there, keeping Rattlesnake from gaining a small little advantage. In the meantime, Pycat has shown off the push power of his own with that max Exhort build, using the Forged Spirits to split push top.
Yeah, Black still working on his Relic into Radiance. Almost 1,800 gold to his name. They can kill the Bear very, very fast if it gets amplified. It does not have that much armor right now, only 6. Yep. Wow, Nyx just gets blown up.
Yep, never had a chance there. And telekinesis right into a Sunstrike. LGD doing a decent job of holding the line, and Rattlesnake's going to have to do something about Pycat. You can't let a max Exhort build Invoker just have the lane to his own. In fact, off of that tower kill and off of the farm he generated just being left alone, he now has a Midas of his own.
Yeah, now they can start pressuring mid too, since one person already rotated top, and that is Luo. And this is just a problem with Rattlesnake's lineup. They need to find kills. They need to find kills with Star. They need to find kills with Nyx Assassin, but just unable to capitalize. Nyx Assassin isn't even level 6 yet.
And LGD being pushed back, at least for the moment. Luo, I mean, he's going to have his blink up. I'm going to imagine that's what he's banking for. He's got 2,000 gold, a little over it, so about 100 gold away from having that item. Very key for him. But once they get that, they need to fight. This is just not a situation they can allow to continue. The Lone Druid is already beginning to feel very, very comfortable in his own skin, as you mentioned, banking up a fair amount of gold, 2,000 gold towards that relic now, and there's the blink out of Luo. So I would be shocked if he didn't start getting involved in fights basically in the next minute or two.
Yeah, Black is still going to be really hard to kill, though, even if he does get Blink initiated on. If anything, LGD.int should just bait him out, and then they can counter-initiate with Shackle, and he should easily survive. If Slaughter gets rooted too, he's going to die. He doesn't have any HP. Look at his HP, 10, 24 HP on your one roll Slardar.
Yep. Not a very survivable hero until you build a survivability item or two. As you mentioned, BKB Armlet, the standard go-tos. But yeah, he has rotated to mid now. They know it's basically make or break time. They have a lineup that does have a Best Buy date. And unless they get a lot out of it right now, Pugnet's going to get the tower destroyed. There's a nice initiation, showing off the Blink Dagger. Misery and Freedom both cleaned up immediately. That's what they were waiting on. That's what they needed. And now this lineup can maybe find a rhythm of its own.
A really nice timing for that to happen. Rattlesnake definitely should keep up the aggression, though. We just saw how much devastation the first Blink Slithering Crush caused on the side of LGD.int.
They're going to move on into the Roche pit with amplified damage there. Just look how quick this Roshan's going to drop. Already down to about...
minus 10 armor, OP.
It is pretty damn strong. Luo, though, takes a power shot and loses so much of their own HP. The mechanism completed shortly ago, and they're going to end up getting the mid tower after all. Sag finally did hit level 6.
Why is Sag scared? He has a sentry ward right here. He's like just like deathly afraid that they have sentries. Well, they do now, but they didn't have them before.
And poking his nose up. Here we go. He's going to be telekinesis. Another good crush. Caught Misery and the bear. Shackle will not latch on Luo. They're going to be able to get the bear at the very least. Now there's a soul assumption. Sag able to eat it in the back, though. So they managed to get the damage done. Here we go. Misery under cover of Vendetta with very little health. Better just basically be a roaming ward than teleport home. Yep, that's what he's going to do.
I'm surprised he didn't go Midas.
Give him time. That's what they do. Medallion was picked up on Freedom in the meantime. And both teams beginning to do this guerrilla warfare kind of hot and cold routine where they go back to farm, and they try to push a tower and have a fight. Go back to farm, try to push a tower and have a fight. As we can see, though, LGD coming out ahead in these engagements. They're at the biggest lead, the biggest lead of the game, not just for them, but in the game in general, coming up on plus 4,000 in their favor. The experience at about half that, plus 2K.
Yeah, I think that Rattlesnake can try and do another Roshan attempt. They just need to wait for like Pycat to split push top or something like that, because he's been split pushing the whole entire game right now, and he's farming the jungle. But he has Midas Force, so his Midas came out I think at 13 minutes, and getting a 4-staff and 1,000 gold like very quickly after. It's just really, really good farm by him. Very efficient.
That bear does have its relic up now. Icy tried to static link and only stole 14 damage though, so unable to interrupt Black that much. Sag is going to go back under cover of Vendetta, moving into the Radiant side jungle, looking for a target, going to find one in Pycat. Runs right past him, and now they're going to engage onto Luo. Nice Impale is there as well. Mana burn, there's a Slithering Crush. Can they get the damage done? Freedom with a Soul Assumption, enough to kill off the Slardar. Here comes Icy. Enters in and gets the right-click damage done. They end up trading 1-for-1 Visage for Slardar. That's honestly a good trade for LGD, though.
Yeah, it was a really good trade for LGD. A very nice stun lock combination on Luo. He was like, he didn't really approach from the fog, and they had just too many people on him to just right-click the Invoker down. And Invoker and escape is a really big deal.
They're going to be able to track down Misery as he tried to retreat back to the Tier 2. Tier 1 dropped in the meantime, and Rattlesnake right now feeling quite in control of things, as they should. This is what their lineup is built to do. LGD with that gold lead still ahead, but this is what they have to be doing. And the fact that they're doing it so well despite losing Luo in that exchange speaks well of how this lineup has developed aside from Luo. In the meantime, though, Brax has finished a mechanism, and more importantly, the Lone Druid has completed his Radiance. So these fights going to be much more chancy from here on out for Rattlesnake.
Yeah, I think much more chances is an understatement. They're like kind of under the gun. They didn't really win the early game. If you look at the gold graph, they were like about even for the last like 14 minutes or so, and then boom, just huge up spike in what's been happening because they didn't exchange well enough with Slaughter this far. He's got that 2-4-0 exchange in mid, but after that, I mean, he's like been finding opportunities, but LGD is just really well prepared for it. And he can't just kill people without BKB.
And Rattlesnake withdrawing back across the river. Looks like LGD might want to make something happen. They've got a smoke going on at the moment. Brax rotating his way over back towards mid. They're going to go ahead and cross over. Misery, Freedom, and a handful of familiars and Forge Spirits. Icy might be the most exposed target. Freedom is going to poke his nose around. In the meantime, Rattlesnake staying grouped up. Here they go. Sag's going to get a spawn off. There's an impale that caught two. They got Brax and Black. Carapace is there. There's the Slithering Crush, but looks like Luo's just running away from the fight. They're going to be able to pick off Sag. Here comes Icy showing off the BKB. The static link ineffective. Johnny could be in trouble. Bear not even needed to get the kill. They do end up trading 2 for 2 so far. They might get Misery as well. They will. So Icy doing what he should be doing. They do manage to track down Luo, or they being Black, I should say. So it's a 3 for 3 exchange across the board. Big difference, though. Actually, I would say that was about as even as you could ask for, as it was Lone Druid and the Invoker that survive on the side of LGD, while Pugna and Razor, arguably the two most important heroes right now for Rattlesnake, both survive as well. 10-13, Rattlesnake maintains the kill lead. Take a look at the gold, though. The exchange, at least in that regard, continues to favor LGD.
Yeah, I think that Slar is just slowly becoming more ineffective and ineffective. He was like 0-1 in lane. He got pressured by 2 ranged heroes. He formed a pretty slow blink, but after that, he doesn't really have any items. He has 150 gold on top of his brown boots, and he is just struggling to survive in these team fights.
Sag, still fairly, I mean, we take a look at the levels. That's something we're talking about. The levels definitely right now favoring LGD as well. 15-13 on Black and on
There's the Midas.
Hey, big surprise, Johnny. Oh, I hate you so much. That's okay. I got to admit, I mean, the Mass Midas worked in the last series. I've got to take my lumps. It did work. So moving on, the Rattlesnake right now, as you said, though, I mean, Luo is just falling further and further behind. You take a look at the kill totals. 1 and 4 is not what you want out of your Slaughter that was supposedly farming out of one position. Looks like he might be trying to get up a set of treads now. Or it could be a Midas because it's a damn Glove of Haste, and I don't know why you would buy a Glove of Haste without buying a Midas in 6.79. Up here at top, we're going to have Freedom spotted out by Sag. Vendetta and Impale was there. Now they're going to try to reinitiate. Here comes 1-2-1 to try and make this happen. Pugna wards down. There's a Decrepify. Nice shackle. Still not enough to slow that down. Misery might be in some trouble, but here comes the Bear looking for a root. Going to get one on Sag. There's a Slithering Crush to delay things. Freezing Field goes off as well. The damage is solid. Pycat looping around. Icy comes in from the backside, though. And just an utter cluster near this tower. Brack's going to be crushed again. 1-2-1 and Luo are backed into a corner. Icy's right there with the BKB up. Movement speed from Yasha makes it impossible to run away from him. Black will make it back. Oh, there's a rune on the Icy's. He tried to turn around. Now 1-2-1 using Life Drain to secure a kill of his own, but will be tracked down, and a triple kill goes the way of Pycat. An absolute mess of a fight. And how many buybacks did LGD have there? I want to say at least 2, right?
Yeah, it was that fight was pretty hectic, but Black is getting out of control right now. He had his Vlad, he's surviving all these fights. 3-1-5 on him. His farm is just way out of control compared to Luo. Yeah, look at his net worth.
Yeah.
That really tells the story of the game right now, and I don't know why they just wouldn't go with something better. I've seen Slaughter have success in particular lineups, most specifically minus armor strategies with Venge, Alk, and or Shadow Fiend, or just Visage with Medallion, or just versus a very specific invisibility hero such as Weaver, and that low cooldown amplified damage is nice when you don't want to pick up a bounty hunter on your team. But like in this lineup, like he just hasn't done anything.
Yeah, he really hasn't. And the joke about buybacks kind of based on that. It just seemed like it took him forever to wind that fight out. That fight just got so drawn out. A lot of that a function of their lack of damage. I mean, basically, Icy is doing all of the damage outside of the burst that Nyx Assassin gives you and outside of a little bit of burst coming out of Johnny. I mean, he used Freezing Field there, and even that wasn't enough to really ward away LGD.
Mm-hmm. They were quite some range away, though. Nick's Assassin still trying to look for opportunities. 0, 4, and 6 on Sag. And these supports are just unable to set opportunities for Luo. They didn't really protect him early. They also didn't find any kill opportunities. Both the supports have 0 kills and Luo. So their tri-lane just, like, utterly failed.
Yeah, taking a look at the KD. 8-2 on Icy. I mean, he's really the one hope Rattlesnake still has going for them. 7-1 on the Pugna. And Pugna, I mean, he's an excellent hero, but as BKBs come out, he does become less relevant. There's at least 2 heroes that you could easily imagine getting a BKB, PyCap being one of them at some point. And we've seen Lone Druids be picking up BKBs a little bit more often than perhaps they previously would. So that plus just innate Magic immunity makes it tough. They are going to pressure this top tier 1, and this will force a pretty big reaction. Here comes LGD. Shackle trying to hit something off the creep, unable to make that happen. In the meantime, Luo getting some much-needed farm. Still doesn't even have tier 2 boots up.
Who needs boots?
He's got sprint, man. He's got sprint. He might honestly be saving for a Midas. Like, he's got...
He really treads, I think. Or armlet.
Yeah, I guess he could be saving for armlet. The only thing he's got up is a Glove of Haste. Would love to see that. But, yeah, at this point, Black is in control. He's got his Midas up. He's had that up for a while, obviously. He's got up his Radiance was actually the word I was looking for, and I'll be damned. He actually was. Luo buying a Midas in a game where he is hopelessly behind. I don't think that makes any sense whatsoever.
Yeah, at the 40-minute mark, he'll have made like 2,000 gold. What do you mean that doesn't make sense?
40-minute mark. If this game goes to 40 minutes, I will eat my hat.
Middle tower has fallen.
Rattlesnake just really having, I mean, just getting shoved around at this point. Plus 7,500 gold advantage currently going the way of LGD. And Black is just not going to be turning back. He's almost got an Assault Cuirass done. The Plate Mail's done, as is the Hyperstone. I mean, why? I want to know why, Luo. Good. You deserve that. Bad man. Don't build Midas at 25 minutes when you're this far behind on a freaking Slarder. Don't do it.
Wow.
It's been a long day. Shush. Don't wow me. Don't act like I'm the extreme one. But
so extreme.
Anyway, 16-14. And really kind of a lull in action right now. As neither team, I mean, it looks like Rattlesnake. I feel like Rattlesnake, even at this point, wow, they actually do manage to get the courier. Didn't even see where that happened.
Right here.
Oh, there we go. Managing to pick the courier off, certainly a help. I feel like Rattlesnake should be playing more aggressive and maintaining their aggression, but they really just aren't. And LGD is in total control of the pace of this game.
Yeah, they don't really need all 5 to push too, which is really scary. They only have 3 people right here. Look how far away they are from a friendly tower, but it looks like they're going to get a tower for pretty much free unless they get a second deny right now. Nope. So no deny on the Lone Druid, and I mean, what is their plan?
Yeah, that's kind of where I am. I mean, their lineup is one that it's not. They don't have a late game to go to. They just don't. Razor's their best hope, but even he is going to be reliant on big plays, and now going to have Luo caught out once again. And Cold Snap plus a Telekinesis. See you back at the base, brother. 15-16, LGD, and Pugna now. He picks up a Scythe, but I mean, everything is just so much further ahead on the side of LGD. The Scythe of Ice has been up on PyCat for a while now.
Johnny's just dying to bears and Visage Familiars.
Being burned down. How's that Midas working, Johnny? Is that what you really wanted? Could have had survivability, but we wanted a Midas. That's what we wanted. Back to the Roche pit. Looks like they're going to take a shot at the big guy.
It is really. I mean, Midas is a good pickup, but yeah, not versus these heroes. Not when they can just push down all your towers like 20-25 minutes, and they only have 1 T2 left at this point, and they're not going to be able to catch up. Crystal Maiden with the Force Staff probably could escape. He can save Slardar. Slardar, I have no idea what he saved. Oh yeah, he went a Midas. I forgot, but he needs treads. He needs HP so badly.
LGD ready to start potentially cracking a tier 3. They still have 1 tier 2 to clear out if they want the creep wave. Not too far away, and it looks like that will be the decision as they rotate their way up. The support items right now are just so unbelievably far ahead for LGD. I mean, I'm gonna, we take a look at where they stand. Just, I mean, look at how full the inventories are of their supports. Scythe of Vice and Force Staff on PyCat. Misery has a Force Staff. Freedom just about. Oh, he's probably working on his scepter now, but he has a medallion up at the very least. Brax with the mech up very close to his own force staff, and Black obviously not a support. But compare that to what's going on with Rattlesnake. Arc boots and a wand on Sag. You've got Midas and a wand on Johnny. You've got Midas and a blink dagger on Luo, and so on and so forth. The Scythe of Ice on the Pugna plus the mech. Really, I mean, he's the only one even close to being on par.
Yeah, he really is. And are they going to be able to stop this? I don't think so. Down for another 2.5 minutes. The creep wave is almost there. This bear is just absolutely destroyed the tower. Use Carapace to try and slow it down a little bit, but it has alacrity.
They're bursting it down fairly well. And down to about 400 HP. In the meantime, Luo doing what he can do, which I suppose is split push with a double damage rune. I don't know why they're not going here. They know Luo's not there, so they don't have to worry about Blink Initiation boning them. They just saw where he was, and still they're backing off. That's a little surprising to me.
See, yeah, Luo, what is he going to get? He has 2,200 gold. He can buy an armlet very, very shortly. He needs a fighting item for sure, though. And BKB would be a good choice, but the problem is he's still not going to be able to do that much. I think he's just going to get kited around with 4 staffs with Windrunner. They have 2, almost 3 4 staffs up. They actually have almost 4 because Windrunner always has 1. So everybody but the Lone Druid on Radiant has a 4 staff.
And Black gonna head elsewhere. Gonna go grab the farm at bottom. And as of right now, this is kind of what LGD.int does, though. They get a big lead, and you know, sometimes it works out for them, sometimes it doesn't. Against this lineup, I can't imagine much of anything going wrong unless they just have like 3 or 4 cataclysmically bad engagements in a row, like just true mistakes being made. But sometimes, you know, this is just what they do. They'll get a big lead and then just kind of sit on it. They're not one to press a lead all that much.
Yeah, I think they need to press a lead, though. Like, this T1 being up against a Pugna, still 30 minutes into the game, there's really not a good excuse for that.
Well, let's see. LGD sitting back and waiting on what they perceive to be a push coming out of Rattlesnake right now. In the meantime, Black just continuing to farm up. He's got 2,100 gold, and his Assault Cuirass already done. Looks like he's going to go ahead and add a Maelstrom to his collection as he's picked up a second Hyperstone. That bear is going to be swinging mighty quick.
Yes, it is. I'm getting a tiny bit of lag.
Yep, we can see. I mean, that bear is just chomping away right now. And pretty sure, Black, you're ready to go, bud. Ready to go 5,
Is Black
man.
ever ready to fight?
Not really. I think that's a big part of it. I just picture that on their team chat, it's all 4 of the other players. All right, Black, we ready to go? No, it's fine. Hang on. I got other big items to get. And, you know, that's why I'm surprised Lone Druid isn't his favorite hero, because he's got 12 slots to fill instead of 6.
Double Midas Gaming.
Exactly.
Quad Midas Gaming. 1 for each paw.
1 for each paw. Oh, well played, Merlini. Maybe I'm just sleepy, but that was funny. Moving up mid lane, LGD perhaps finally willing to put the dagger in this. And of course, I have a vested interest now. I'm a hashtag biased caster, Fire AC, because I really want them to win by 40 minutes now. That way I don't have to eat a hat. That would be unpleasant.
You wouldn't think it's funny if someone got 4 Midases in a game. You would be angry.
I'll be okay with Midas again when people start just building it when it makes sense. Like, just go back to doing that. I have no problem with Black getting a Midas. Had up 6 minutes.
Every game should be good. What do you mean?
I mean,
there's no rules.
Hey, I see a Crystal Maiden with 14 or 1,900 gold up at 7 minutes in. Fine, hang on. Pycat catching Icy out. There's the rock. Gonna drop. Gonna catch 2. He's gonna have to BKB just to avoid dying to the burn damage. Now they're gonna rush the tier 3 Decrepify on the bear. Does disjoint things a bit, but 1-2-1 force back, and the shackle plus 1 soul assumption enough to bring him down. There's a buyback on Pugna. They get the tier 3. Black still has a bear to resummon, and up the bear's going to go. There's Luo trying to do what he can, but the Decrepify basically the only thing that's keeping them alive at this point. Doesn't look like LGD's ready to back off quite yet. Luo comes in and is actually going to sprint away. Alacrity wears off. Aegis reclaimed in 1 minute. Black might want to get up there, just get out of position, allow himself to be blown up, and then come back and resummon that bear. Here we go. Icy caught out and just utterly decimated. Luo going to try to sprint away. And everyone on Rattlesnake just dying slowly but surely to this burn damage. We see the Soul Assumption getting 1 more kill from downtown. And 1-2-1 moves in and just gets overrun. Icy next on the list. He's going to go ahead and Manta, but don't know that it's going to matter. That bear's going to get a root. And the Cold Snap with the attack speed on that bear just making it very, very difficult. And there's going to be a power shot that secures a double kill for Brax. With everyone down, Crystal Maiden buys back and immediately drops back down. That should more or less be your
Termitus
GG.
gold, no. That reliable gold.
This bear is hitting so fast. Like, just look at this. Glad we get to see it at least a little bit with the Maelstrom officially finished. Rattlesnake picked a mid-game centric lineup, and really they just never had a mid-game. Luo shut down early and shut down often, and LGD able to parlay that into a very convincing Game 1 win.
Yeah, well, as mentioned by Nahaz, Invoker picked up a Rapier at the end on top of the Scythe of Ice.
So yeah, I like it when players do that. 'Cause if I'm not mistaken, I see, I read it sometimes. Pretty much every time a Rapier comes down in a game that's got a ticket, the viewers get a prize, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That means just picking up the Rapier, there at the end, they're just gonna make the day of a few.
Why do you keep buying this? Oh wait, you can't sell it.
Anyway, guys, Game 1 of our second best of 3 is behind us. A very dominant outing for LGD International, who, I mean, they dropped the first series, so being able to bounce back and take on Rattlesnake and get a Game 1 win in such a convincing fashion, certainly going to be good for the mentality. This is their next to last best of 3, still seeking that elusive first series win. 24-16, the final kill score, 33 minutes and 1 second, the time it took. LGD walks away with the win. I'm your host, Aaron A.C. Chambers. We're continuing to roll through with a big day of Dota. We debuted our Western Division player earlier today and had a couple hours downtime, and now pushing through into the wee hours. Not quite the wee hours yet. It's, I guess maybe 9, 10 o'clock, something like that here on the 9 o'clock. See, I've just lost all concept of time. But nonetheless, lots of fun here as LGD International has perhaps finally found Black a hero that he's going to have some success on in the Eastern Division of the D2L. Looking really good on the lone road. I am AC, joined by Ben Merlini Wu. We're going to have our second game of this series coming up in just a few minutes. Stick with us here on the HyperX D2L. We'll be right back.